Hey everybody, okay, we are ready now to learn how to factor a trinomial expression. So I have a trinomial expression, x squared plus 5x plus 6, and I want to factor it. Now there are a lot of methods out there in algebra books, all different ways, all tricks. I'm going to go with the foolproof basic way to factor a trinomial expression. First thing I want you to notice is my trinomial expression today has a leading coefficient of 1. Well, what does that mean? It means the first term is x squared, and x squared has an understood coefficient of 1. And that's what we're going to learn to factor today. Trinomial expressions that start out with good old x squared, a squared, b squared. They start out with a 1, a coefficient of 1. And the easiest way to factor these is to think backwards of FOIL. Now you're going to say, why FOIL? Well, let's think back. Suppose I gave you the binomial x plus 2 times x plus 3. You all know a binomial times a binomial, we do the FOIL method. And we know FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. So let's look at this. If we're going to multiply x plus 2 times x plus 3, first would be x times x, which is x squared. Outers would be x times positive 3, which is positive 3x. Inners would be positive 2 times x, which is positive 2x. Last would be positive 2 times positive 3, which is positive 6. We know when we do FOIL, we get 4 terms. But we also know the terms in the middle, the outers and the inners, are like terms. We'll put them together. And that's where we'll get the trinomial x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, I want you to think. Factoring means to rewrite as multiplication. We just saw if I take a binomial, 2 terms, x plus 2, and multiply to a binomial x plus 3, I get a trinomial x squared plus 5x plus 6. Today we want to go backwards. I'm going to give you that trinomial x squared plus 5x plus 6, and I want those 2 binomials. So that's what we're doing. We're actually thinking backwards of FOIL. So to factor a trinomial that starts out with a 1x squared or a 1a squared, you have 3 questions to ask yourself in this order. The first question is, what do you multiply to get the first term? So if you look at the trinomial x squared plus 5x plus 6, who's the first term? That's right, it's x squared. Here's your first question. What do you multiply to make an x squared in algebra? The only thing you can multiply is x times x. And that's what would go first in each parentheses. X times x would give you the x squared. The second question you ask yourself is, what do I multiply to get the last term? Well, the last term in that trinomial is 6. So guys and gals, what can you multiply to make 6? Well, now you have an option. It could be 1 and 6, or it could be 2 and 3. Now, you don't get to go and play eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick which one you like best. There's a method of how you decide whether it's 1 or 6, or the 2 or 3. And it has to do with the last question. The last question is, you want to be able to add or subtract to give you the middle term of that trinomial. Well, the middle term in that trinomial is 5x. Well, 1 and 6, I can subtract to make a 5x. 2 and 3, I can add to make a 5. So you're going to say, well, how do I know if I'm adding or subtracting? It all has to do with the signs in the trinomial. The trinomial is x squared plus 5x plus 6. The 6 is positive. That positive means you want to add to make what's in the middle. So what I want to know is, what can I multiply to 6, but also will add to make the 5? Well, let's look at our options. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. But which of those options will add to make the 5 in the middle? Can it be 1 and 6? No. 1 and 6 will never add to 5. 1 and 6 add to 7. That can't be it. Can 2 and 3 add to 5? Yes, it can. So to get the numbers in the binomial, those numbers are double dipping. They have 2 jobs. They multiply to the last term, but then they're either going to add or subtract to make the middle term. Why do we say add this time? Because in front of the 6 was a positive, and that means to add. So now you know when you factor this trinomial, you have first x times x, because that will make x squared. You'll have last the 3 times the 2 because that will make the 6. Now the outers and the inners, remember the nose and the mouth, are going to make the middle. If you want to add to make a positive 5x, because that's what it says in the middle, a positive 5x, adding means the signs have to be the same, right? And we talked about that. To add, things have to be the same. To add to a positive 5x, both signs would have to be positive. And that's why when you factor x squared plus 5x plus 6, you get x plus 2 times x plus 3. Check it doing FOIL. First would be x times x, which is x squared. Outers would be x times 3, which is 3x. Inners would be 2 times x, which is 2x. Last would be 2 times 3, which is 6. And that would get you back to x squared plus 5x plus 6. So that is number reason why, number one, your trinomial has to be in the correct order. To factor trinomial, you have to ask those questions in that order. And that means your trinomial has to be in the correct descending order. Secondly, the way we're asking these questions all have to do with a trinomial that has a leading coefficient of 1. You will hear me say I'm going to call these easy trinomials because if they start out with 1x squared or 1y squared, it's very easy who's going to go first. X squared is x times x, y squared is y times y, a squared is a times a. All right, I know this is different, but we're going to practice it. I'll see you in the next video. We go to the whiteboard.